at, Dave?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Well, this is our third podcast episode now, which is awesome. And today we are honored to have Dave Maloney with us. Dave, I really want to thank you for coming on here and being a part of what we're trying to do here within the East Coast Trades podcast. It's phenomenal to have you talk about your business, the new business that you started, and just really excited to get this out there for everyone to listen to and really get exposure to what you're doing. I think it's phenomenal. Having the service that you're providing is important. I think some people might take the perception that it's only for athletes, but anyone can utilize your business. So I think what you're serving as an offer is really neat, and I'm just excited for you to explain it, talk about it, and just give your whole outlook on why you're doing it in the first place. So to let everybody know what Dave does, he's with a company. It's called Movement Mobilizations. It's a great service, as I stated, and I'd just rather have you talk about it, Dave. You tell me, what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. It's an honor being here. I'm very grateful to be able to do what I do and help people one day at a time become the best that they can be. So my service of what I offer, so like you said, it's not just for athletes. A lot of people see performance and they think it's just for athletes, but it's for anybody who's looking to become the best that they can be. And whether that's in life or sport or activity or hobbies or whatever you're trying to be, essentially my goal is to make you the best human being all around when it comes to your performance. So what does that mean? Essentially, based on your past or what you've done in prior activities, based on your occupation, based on the sports you played, based on how much you moved, kind of tells a story about your body based on maybe you're stiff in your hips, maybe you're stiff in your upper back, maybe you're really good at squatting, but maybe you're really bad at deadlifting. So to figure all that out, I run you through a functional movement test, and I see everybody's baseline numbers, and I explain as to, hey, this is where it should be to be a quote-unquote functional human being, or just to be a human being. We should be able to squat to this depth, our ankles should move this much, your hips should move this much, so on and so forth. After that, I then teach people how to utilize the body the way it's designed. So the body, we've been around for hundreds of years. The body has a specific way that it's designed to move. Yep. The problem is we've never been educated on how that actually works. So in my belief, your posture, the muscles that are turned on, how you operate throughout the day, if you stay in a quality, organized position and allow the muscles to support the body the way it's designed, you're going to decrease your risk of injury and increase or maximize your performance in a daily basis or in your sport or whatever the goal is. It all depends on the individual, what the individual's goal is.
For sure, that makes sense.
So essentially I run through the whole gamut of we look at movement first. We want to clear up your movement. If you're in pain, a lot of people have injuries throughout their life. A lot of people have knee pain or low back pain. Number one goal is to get you out of pain, or at least relieve some of the pain you have and get you to feel better. Because if we can decrease the pain, you're going to automatically move a little bit better, and you're going to be a little bit more lively, a little more pep in your step, ready to get up and do whatever the task is for the day. Get you out of pain is number one, and then following that, we start building more stability and strength and mobility. And then we get into speed and power and the athletic side of things. I also work with a lot of golf clientele who are now trying to hit the ball further. After we get the movement cleared up, we start looking at the total picture, because in my belief, you can work out 7 days a week, 3 hours a day. But if you don't hit these other 3 marks, which is your nutrition, your recovery, and your hydration, and even your mindset, if you don't have any of those 3, you're probably not going to reach your goal. And that's where I kind of see a lack in the whole fitness realm. It's like, let's just beat the hell out of ourselves in the gym and forget about the rest of it. Let's sleep 5 hours a day. Let's eat pizza every day. Let's take takeout and have cheesesteaks. And, I might drink 4 coffees and 2 Gatorades and a Coke and iced tea, but I had no water the whole day. So it's about just making sure you can check the basic marks of being just simply a human being. And I feel like we're slowly moving away with our society. I would say technologically, with what's going on, and there's many good things with technology.
Yeah, definitely.
But I guess just my main thing is to have people become aware of why this is important, why your positions matter, why I should sleep. And once they take in the information, learn it, and then try it, they realize how much more potential they have to optimize their performance.
That makes sense.
So that was a little bit of rambling, but that's kind of the nutshell of what I'm trying to do. Just make people aware of it's more than just picking up the weights and lifting them up and down.
Yep.
It's what positions, what muscles are you using, because I want people to take the position that you're doing in the gym, say a deadlift, and take that position. And if you go and you have to do, let's say, landscaping, some self work around your own house in the backyard, and you have to lay some mulch down, you should be competent to be able to get into that same position of your deadlift when you're picking up that 50-pound bag of mulch, so you don't blow out your low back.
Exactly.
So I guess trying to be clear is I'm connecting the dots of your movement. I want you to connect the dots of this is what I do in the gym, this is what I do in sport, this is what I do in life. It all correlates, and when I go into the gym, it's my human performance laboratory to get better as a human being.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's as you like you said, you didn't ramble. First of all, that's
all right. Good.
You really put out there what I see anyway from your social platforms, and you do a phenomenal job with that as well.
Thank you.
But yeah, what you stated it's key, and I think that really highlights exactly what I was trying to iterate in the beginning of this is the fact that it doesn't just have to be sports professionals or anyone that's in physical activities. I mean, everyone is in a physical activity. If you're doing chores around the house, just walking from work, wherever you're going, you need to make sure that your posture is correct, because if you're not moving your body in the correct manner, it's gonna long term anyway. To what I'm thinking, you can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but long term, I feel that you really can put your body at risk of tearing muscles, maybe just putting your entire posture out of place can really help hurt you in the long run of just health implications and things like that. I feel if you practice the right movements, it's going to allow you to just live more of a healthier life down the road. Get around better. You're not going to need assistance with walkers, canes, and things like that. And I just think the longevity, and as you said, I think as you do this stuff correctly, it's going to bring a little bit more energy, a little extra pep in your step, and just let you live a better quality life. So when I seen what you were doing, I one of the things that was really neat, I seen one of your posts. I don't know who it was in the video, but he was a laborer, and I think I don't know, was it a flooring company? Or...
Yeah, it was probably my girlfriend Becky's father.
Oh, okay.
Force Laney Flooring, shout out. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he does flooring. He does all the flooring. But I was just trying to make sure, was it the one him carrying the toolbox?
Yeah, and you were talking about like how you should unload your, getting your tools out of the truck, and the way that it should be unloaded, and the way you should be taking that equipment to your place of work. So. I thought that was really neat because you see. I mean, I used to see it in our own business, seeing how you have workers just jump up in the truck. And you're like, man, that's just such an unsafe way of doing that. I can imagine you blowing your back out, trying to bend over, get underneath ladder racks. And there's ways to really navigate yourself. And that it's going to honestly take years off your life if you don't do it correctly.
Correct.
And, I just see it. And I think that's something that just really has never been taught, especially within the trades. I see things. I'm like, man, you could do this so much easier. Yep. Like, here's knee pads. Use a knee pad to get down on the ground versus just using your knees on the floor. How about you squat, right? Instead of bending over and putting all that strain on your back. I see it all the time. I mean, my dad's a great example of it. He has that, what do you call it? The sciatic nerve, right?
Yep.
And it ended up acting up on him because he just twisted the wrong way. But I see his posture. I'm like, dude, you should have squatted.
Yep.
Right? You should have bent your knees. Had your feet underneath you versus you just bending over and trying to reach.
Yep.
Because little movements like that can really put them out for 2 weeks.
Right. And that's a perfect example. So you watch like the majority of like human beings are going to bend from their back versus utilize your legs or utilize the main mover of the body, which is your hips, and utilize how to load your hips in either a hinge mechanic like an RDL or a deadlift or into a squat position like you just said, and protect the low back, allow your hips and abdominals to stabilize you instead of bending over from your back. Because like you said, it's not a lot of times where I see people with pain or they have a back in, especially let's take the back. They have a back injury because they've done that back bend 10,000 times. And on that 10,000th time, it wasn't 500 pounds that they picked up. They could have picked up a pencil. But those tissues just aren't strong enough to maintain bending. It's just anatomically the body's not designed to use those smaller muscles 10,000 times to bend over and pick up, say the toolbox. You should be using the larger muscles, which is your hips, to drive into the ground. But again, the problem is people don't know that.
And it makes sense.
And we're not educated on that. Yeah. It's like, that's the big thing. I try to get my name out there, my service out there to folks in the trade, because I love the work ethic. So you're going to work as a team, basically going to war to get the job complete and finish it to the best of your ability. Everybody who's in the trade that I've ever met is a hardworking person. They could be in the most pain, but they're going to get up and they're going to do the job because that's what they have to do for the day. And they're going to battle to finish and complete.
Exactly.
Many people, from what happens from not caring or being educated about their positions on the daily, they end up hurting their back. They tweak their shoulder. When they get hurt, they end up going to rehab. And I see a lot of times they go to rehab, they go to physical therapy. And physical therapy is well and great. However, they get discharged or they're in the physical therapy and they get handed pharmaceuticals to take care of the pain. And then we get into potential hooked and addiction and so on and so forth. I see that all the time. But things like that can be eliminated if we take 30 minutes a day to strengthen the areas that are most important for your daily task.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I see it. I see it from a hiring standpoint where you get workers where unfortunately they're hooked on pain medication, and sometimes it goes the worse. And a lot of times the industry, the trade industry, gets that connotation where a lot of them are people you can't trust. They're drug addicts, sketchy, yeah. And it's sad because, as you said, there's not a lot of knowledge, especially if you're going through public schools and things. You're not taught this kind of stuff. I mean, yeah, do you have phys ed classes? Yeah, but it's not. No. Proper movement.
No.
And it goes with you throughout your life.
Right. I mean, and those phys ed classes, here's my ideal belief is how the school system in regards to physical education should be taught is things that I'm teaching individuals we should be taught in first grade. Definitely. We shouldn't be put in the desk. We should be able to move throughout the day. We should go to school and learn how to hinge from your hip or get into a safe lunge or how to carry things overhead or how to carry things in front of us safely for the rest of your life. Because if you can do that successfully, and then you can do that successfully if you go and even if you play sports, you're going to eliminate positions that are going to potentially put you at risk for injury. And because better, instead of just throwing your body around like a noodle and then eventually, your knee caves in or, you tweak your neck because your upper back wasn't strong enough, whatever the situation is. Yeah. I think if individuals had the education of, this position's better than the other and it's a lot stronger, we would be more cognizant when we're in a situation of stress or a situation of overload of picking my toolbox up 20 times a day. I'm going to know that I'm not going to pick it up that way because in 20 years from now, I might blow my back out.
For sure. No, it makes plenty of sense. And I think it's important. I honestly, your service, I feel like it can be implemented in every industry. Mm-hmm. From a corporate standpoint of working in an office, as you said. Mm-hmm. I mean, I worked in an office before, and I was in the office at least 8 hours a day, at least. Sometimes some days it would be 12, 13-hour days. And you're depending on what culture you're in. A lot of the cultures still today, they force you to be at your desk the entire time, even eat your lunch at your desk, versus maybe doing just proper movements. Getting up out of the seat, getting those extra breaks that your body does need. It shouldn't be sitting in a seat for 8 hours straight.
It's just not normal.
It's not.
It's really not.
God, I mean,
no, you're good. Yeah, like the sitting thing is to big proportions. Talking about improper movement, just from sitting. So like, let's take a quick example. If you look at children, so like from, I would say the time they start learning how to walk until kindergarten, they move like Olympic athletes. Their feet are straight. They can get into a deep squat, no problem. They hinge from their hip. They're always protecting their spine, and it's natural. They don't even know that they're doing it. Just watch. Next time you see a little child walking around, his feet are like, everything is like a perfect athlete.
Yep.
They get into first grade, they get put in desk. Then you start seeing little boys and girls running, and they're heel striking. So now they're putting more stress on their ankles and their knees. You start seeing that they're forward flexed in their spine because they're sitting at the chair all day long. So you start seeing like they can't reach their arm overhead because they're so forward flexed in their spine. And it's from a lot of the problems that I see, because I work with several folks who work at the desk all day, is from being 8 hours hunched over, staring at the computer screen all day long without moving. Yep. Just something as simple, and everybody thinks like the solution is a standing desk. Well, it's not necessarily a solution. It's just another position you can get in throughout the day to move more. It's not about sitting and standing. It's just about moving more. So like, hey, if I have a standing desk, can I stand up for 30 minutes, then I can sit for 30 minutes, then I can kneel for 30 minutes, then I can stand on one leg for 30 minutes, or like alternating, just moving, getting the blood flowing, turning on different muscles.
Exactly.
Because if not, and you sit for so long and you come and see me, the thing that I then have to do is try and teach you how to loosen up all the stiffness that you've accumulated for the last 10, even you think about school, for the last 18 years, if you weren't active and say you didn't do any sports or work out or do anything previously, then we have to reroute everything and loosen up all the stiffness and then stabilize it. So like I was saying, if we could develop a system where we learn this in first grade and we're more active, we're more aware of our movement growing up into adulthood, we wouldn't have to backtrack. And we wouldn't get injuries and then have to go get surgery to fix a problem that should have never happened in the first place if we knew the positions the human body should create.
For sure. And I think you'd have less of a pandemic. Well, not pandemic, but an epidemic in the sense of, the use of these, narcotics and everything else to help deal with pain, because that's all it's doing. It's masking the pain.
And all these people, they're just looking for relief.
Yeah.
They don't know there's anything else. By the time it's like, my back's been screaming for 3 years, I've gotten surgery, and there's no shots on surgeons or anybody in the medical field. They're just doing what they were taught in school.
Exactly.
They don't know that, hey, maybe, the problem is you go in, say you blew your knee out. From my understanding, you'll go in, say it's your ACL or you need a knee replacement or whatever. There's many different situations. You get the surgery done, you go back to PT. The majority of physical therapists are going to do the best that they can to get the knee back to what is considered normative by the association that teaches their education. Once it's normative, then they can go back into society. But that normative doesn't mean that you're safe and you're ready to go, if you're in the trade, let's say, you're not ready to go pick up 150 pounds tomorrow at work and put it over your head and, nail it to the ceiling.
Exactly.
Or you're not ready to squat down and pick it up because your knee only has 120 degrees of flexion, which is considered normal. But really, for you to be able to complete the task at hand safely and effectively, you need 150 degrees, whatever the example is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If there was another avenue, like what I'm trying to do, another avenue on how to build myself up, understand that, hey, I can do these workouts and I can make it easier. I can just donate. I can put forth 30 minutes, an hour of my time to get stronger and to improve the positions that I need to be in biomechanically. Then when I get into work the next day, my day's that much easier.
Yeah.
Or if I go play sport, if I go play, you know, my sport, obviously I'm better at that sport, and that sport's that much easier, and I can play at that much higher level.
For sure.
But did I complete my thought? Yeah, so we should learn this young so we don't have to backtrack and have to go through surgeries because we've been overloading our knees, or we've been overloading our low back, or our shoulders have been forward, and we've been using basically the wrong muscles designed to do the task for 10, 20 years until eventually the pain is too much and we need to go elsewhere.
Exactly.
So, yeah. I mean, that's a huge thing. It's because, like, many of these people, like I said, they don't sleep, they don't eat quality food, they don't know what quality food is because there's so much confusion. And I'm not a nutritionist nor a dietitian, but I just give people food hygiene tips.
Okay.
You know, just be a human being, eat real food, drink some water, stay hydrated, make sure you sleep 7 to 8 hours. Are you moving 10,000 steps a day? And then are you working out, you know, whatever for your schedule based on who you are as an individual and what your goals are. Can you work out twice, 3 times a week, 4 times a week? Let's start there and start small. And then everybody thinks like, man, I need to, you know, go cross my CrossFit workout for an hour and a half. And like, I can't walk the next day because my legs are so sore and I can't put my arm over my head. That's fine if that's what you like, but that's not necessarily a solution. I want you to feel better going to work the next day. I want you to feel better in your sport. I don't want you to be so sore you can't move.
Can't even move.
That doesn't sound like productivity to me.
Exactly.
You know, yeah, sure, we're going to lift heavy at times. Yeah, sure, we're going to go higher in the volume, higher reps. But I'm going to make sure that next day you're off and you don't have to worry about going and trying to perform at your highest level. You can recover and be sore and not have to be in pain or stiffness the whole day.
I think it's a great goal to have. I mean, and it should be that way. As you said, I mean, you really shouldn't be feeling like you're completely that you can't walk up the steps, you know, to get into work. And, so, I mean, and obviously, it goes hand in hand, I guess, in the sense of what you're trying to accomplish and where you're trying to go. I mean, if you are a professional athlete, I imagine you might want to push yourself a little bit harder.
Oh, for
in
sure.
a sense to get gains and you know, to get yourself to that next level. But as you know, if you're just a normal human being and you're just trying to get yourself in shape and stay healthy, you don't need to push the limits like that.
We're just trying to feel good, learn how to move, and, you know, push some moderate weight around just to stay strong and maintain, and we can hit strength goals. But you don't have to be a hero and go in the gym every day and deadlift 350 pounds just to say you picked it up and put it on the ground. I mean, what are you doing that's helping you in your overall life? If that's what you like to do for competition or it gets you hyped up and you feel good about it, that's fine. But what additional things are you doing to take care of the rest of your body?
Yeah.
You know,
definitely, and I think that's the yin and the yang and the aspect of it. Like that's fine if it's a hobby of yours, or like say you're in competition, you may be making, you know, that might be your career for you or something. Right. But all right, how you all set in the sense that for recovery, you're making sure that your body is actually in the shape that it needs to be. So when it comes time for off season or, you know, just recovery days, you're doing the right thing.
Yep.
And your body's not being, you know, jeopardized to you really pushing it too far.
Right.
And not giving it time to recover. So,
100%.
Yeah, I think it's just really neat, man. Because when I seen your page and I see it, I'm like, man, this can be just applicable to anyone's life. It's not just I'm professional in this and I'm doing a ton of physical activity. I seen it, I'm like, man, like my dad could use this. You know, like even myself, I catch myself all the time. It was funny. Like I was watching the last episode and I was slunched over the whole time. So, you know, one of my things is you don't notice it. You know, you get in a comfortable position, but you feel better. You know, you pump your chest out a little bit, you straighten your back. It gives you more of a sense of confidence. It energizes you. Right. Because you're almost on alert, right? Like when you slunch, you start getting comfortable and you get sluggish a little bit, and you don't realize it until you're like, oh, you know, I'm just straighten out a little bit. You know? So it's just amazing, small little increments. Like, and if you do it more and more, your body starts getting used to it, and it just. You present yourself better, I feel like.
Yep, 100%. And you just think of something like that, like the slouch. You know, if you essentially what I teach is to teach you how to align the joints and align the body, stack the muscles, tissues, and joints the way they're designed to be stacked and utilized. If you don't do that properly, especially from an energy standpoint or from a clarity standpoint, you can't take a full deep breath if you're sitting like this all the time. So you think of how much oxygen you're actually depleting yourself of every day just because you're not set up to breathe properly. So
Yeah.
like you're not using your diaphragm, your chest breathing, and you think like there's different hormones that can be released from that, which can produce a stress response. And just by simply not being in the right posture throughout your day, you might be stimulating high stress responses due to that poor posture.
Makes sense.
It starts to make a lot of sense once you see it. And like you said, my job is to point out to folks, because I everyone I work with, they don't realize. And again, it's because we haven't been educated. And they're like, oh, well, I thought it was normal for me to just sit on, like when I sit, I just sit. Or when I stand, I thought I just stand. I didn't know I need to like have my butt squeezed a little bit or have my core engaged and my shoulders. I thought they just hang on the edge like I just stand up. They don't know any different.
Yeah. It's like, as you said, I think it descends all the way from, you get in public school. And I mean, I don't even know if private schools even teach it or not either.
No, I went to private school. I didn't learn any of this. I went all through college, and to be honest, even through college, I didn't learn most of this quote unquote new functional movement. Quote unquote, are you functional? What is functional? There was no such thing.
So what did you go to school for?
Exercise science.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went to school for exercise science. I graduated at University of North Carolina at Charlotte.
Really nice.
So I'll just give you the background. So going from when I was down in North Carolina, my whole life I was a hockey player. So at one point I stopped playing and I wanted to learn how to play golf. So I started getting into the golf, playing golf, and I started to realize, damn, I suck. Why am I this bad at golf? And like, so
it's a tough sport.
It's hard. So something like that is so like biomechanically advanced, and one little minuscule of being off can make the ball go way offline of where you're trying to hit it. Yeah, I got addicted pretty quick. So I started looking at things like, well, I wonder if there's like strength and conditioning for golfers. And then I found the gentleman who taught the UNC Charlotte team there, our Division I golf team. Reached out to him. I was in the right place at the right time. Great gentleman by the name of Jason Lindsay. He owns Top Team Sports Performance down there. That's awesome. And he offered me an internship. So it was my final year, an internship, and he started teaching me all of these functional movement things. And these functional movements started to come from TPI, which is called Titleist Performance Institute, where they started to combine functional movement in the golf swing and then combine these functional exercises, how we can get you to move better as a human being, and then transfer that movement into your golf swing. Awesome. So learning that, I didn't know it was a thing. I'm about to graduate and I didn't even know like, hey, my pelvis should be here. I should feel my butt when I do this exercise, or when you push weight overhead, it should be in a straight line next to my ear. All the cues that I teach individuals, or I'm always saying to try and replicate in your exercises to become the best that you can be. I didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
So he taught me, ended up offering me a position as an assistant strength and conditioning coach. And then, I was just learning and he was teaching me everything. I was just taking it all in. And so over some time of being there for 2 years, I learned a lot of information. And then I eventually ended up moving back to take care of my family and come home. Ended up moving back, and I thought, there's no such thing like this in the South Jersey area. I reached out to some places, said, hey, are you hiring? Here's my experience. Even with the golf, there's not much golf exposure out there today. I think it's slowly growing. You see these guys hitting the ball farther and farther on tour, and they want to increase their distance and speed, and that's key to everything. But it's still a little bit of like, do I really want to lift weights? Is that really what I'm doing? They don't know, essentially. People are confused on how they're going to reach hitting the ball 20 yards further. Yeah, still getting there. But down south, it was already exploding. We worked with collegiate golfers, professional golfers, amateur golfers, and then just your daily golfers and daily population and other sports as well. And then I moved home. I didn't find anything like it. And I was like, I want to start this because people need to know this. This is very important. I moved like shit my whole life, and I didn't know any different. Yeah. I remember I showed the gentleman, Jason, who I consider my mentor, I showed him my squat in college, and I think I still have the video. Like, my feet were way turned out, my spine, I was in a really poor position, my shoulders were rolled forward. I was like, how's this look? And he's like, well, what about this, and this? And then I said, wow, like for this longest time, I'm going through school as an
Yeah.
exercise science major, thinking I'm, Joey Fitness,
Yep.
and my squat looks like shit. And I didn't even know. And I didn't even know that like the squat was like a normative test for like human function. So like if you can't get a straight-footed deep squat below your knees or past 90 degrees with your hips with an upright torso, it's one of the tests that I run on folks to basically tell if you can get in the positions needed to be a quote unquote human being.
Yeah.
If not, we need to loosen up your ankles or your hips or stabilize, either get stronger in certain areas or whatever it is for the individual. But I started learning that and I was like, wow. So I started doing mobilizations. I started learning more functional movement. And that's kind of what I was thinking of a name. I was like, well, what should I name my business? And it's like, well, what am I doing? I was like, well, it's Movement Mobilizations. And, I kind of wanted to differentiate myself than being Johnny's Fitness, so-and-so's fitness.
Yeah.
Because that's not essentially what I do is pure fitness. You're not coming in to just get destroyed and just get your heart rate up and pick up heavy weights and throw them back on the ground. And then again, there's nothing wrong with that. But like, I want people to get more out of it. Like, know why you're doing this exercise, how to do it outside of here. So I said, yeah, Movement Mobilizations. Let's do it. And, I got a logo created. And from there, the first person I ever worked with was my mother's best friend. And I trained her out of my house with very minimal equipment. From there, I ended up moving over to Evolve Fitness in Audubon. 3 owners, Corinne and Jason Dement, and Mo Orlando. Shout out to those 3. They helped me start my business because I didn't have a facility. I didn't have equipment. So I essentially subleased their space. They offered me to teach some classes. Started teaching classes, started building even more group fitness. So I ended up making a group fitness class. That was essentially what I was saying. It was quote unquote general population, everyday people who are just trying to feel better and move better and become the best that they can be. So I made a even more in-depth class where I programmed all these things and trying to get stronger around the board. Then, started growing my clientele. Unfortunately, Evolve ended up going out of business due to the COVID shutdown.
That's a shame.
Which I hope everything's going all right with those 3. Because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't have been able to get up on my feet, and I wouldn't be able to show my service to people.
Yeah, it's amazing that they allowed it and really welcomed you in there.
Yeah, because I didn't have anywhere else to go, and nobody was hiring who I thought would appreciate what I was doing, or at least spoke the same language of what I was doing. So that got me up on my feet. And then after they kind of shut down, I tried to do some online things, put out some free workouts, and people really enjoyed it. And then a gentleman, shout out to Go Golf, Philando, the owner, Phil, he ended up offering me a position. They had a spare room in the facility. And then if you look at my Instagram now on my website, that's where I currently am over in Cherry Hill off of Springdale Road. Slowly got the equipment that I needed. COVID, it was a pain in the butt. You couldn't order anything. It took months. And, I just hung in there and people were cool. And they're like, because I can design really good workouts with any equipment. You don't need a top-of-the-line facility to become a better human being. But, it's good that I've slowly been able to build to where I am now. And more and more people are starting to spread the word and throw some referrals my way.
That's awesome.
It's taken some time, a lot of people think it takes, one day. I think I started in December of 2019.
I was going to ask you that. So.
Officially, okay. I think, I didn't really have, here's another thing that a lot of people think when you start a business. They think it's all like cherries on top. When you're not working, you're not doing anything, you have all this free time, good for you, but they don't see the behind the scenes.
Sure.
Like you talk about, they don't see the content you're creating, making those videos, putting those photos up on social media platforms, trying to spread the word to as many people as you can to see if they're interested or if you can help them with your service or your product. Yeah. Just so much time built. So a lot of people, here's my advice if you're going to start a business tomorrow is don't quit your job that you have right away. Have a part-time position because you're still going to have to pay the bills that you have to pay. You're not just going to make money like in the first month.
Yep.
So I was working over at Mom's Organic Market in Cherry Hill,
Okay.
which is basically like a smaller mom and pop Whole Foods.
All right. What were you doing there for them?
I just worked at the produce area. So
Awesome.
I kind of just took everything, unloaded everything in the morning, stacked it up the way it should be, and I eventually ended up getting orders and doing some of the produce orders there, and I tried to stay there, and I was asking for a raise and such, but they weren't ready for the time. But I stayed there as long as I could to slowly build clientele, and this is when I was getting into Evolve. But it was good, long hours. And this was just 2 years ago, but the produce shift that I worked, I'd go in at 5 a.m. I'd have to be in at 5. Was it 5? No, it was 4 a.m. Yeah.
Okay.
4 a.m. So our shift started at 4 a.m. and we were done at 1 p.m. So that gave me a lot of time after 1 p.m. to then work on the business and start getting more clients and teaching classes and such. And one class turned to 3 classes, and 3 classes turned to 5 classes. And people really started to catch on as to, hey, this guy really cares and he wants me to feel better. And he's not just telling me to pick up the weight and encouraging me. He's telling me, hey, make sure, your feet feel this and your hips do this. I guess they felt my passion.
Yep.
And they started to feel better. People started coming up to me and saying, man, my knees have hurt for so long. I never knew I could do a lunge this way. I thought lunges hurt my knees. And it's like, well, if we change a couple positions, you'll feel it in your butt and not your knees.
Exactly.
But yeah, stuff like that. But so don't quit your day job. Stick with something or have another source of income, because within your first year, you're not just going to blow the doors open with money coming in. People think that's a thing. You could be an outlier. It could happen.
It could, but it's really rare.
Very rare.
Yeah.
And then slowly find out who your target market is. So, like, I tried to market to trade, folks doing trades on social platforms, plumbers, carpenters, floor, roofing, painters. No matter what, whoever's using their body on a daily basis, basically.
Yeah.
And then I started working with a lot of people who are just, like your average mother who has been in back pain and just wants to get in shape and feel better. And then I worked with a couple firefighters. I still work with some police officers. There's some folks who are like, you're sitting in a chair, essentially, depending on your shift. You're sitting in the car all day long.
Yep.
And you're supposed to get out of that car and sprint full speed and catch somebody if needed. It's not an easy thing to do.
No, it isn't.
And your body could blow out pretty quick if you're out of shape and you've been sitting for that long. So I find a lot of imbalances in those folks, and the way they have their gun holstered and throws off their hips and their abdominals, so on and so forth, without getting too boring into the science. But really, it's just a slow growth process. If I had to tell you 2 years ago I'd be where I am today with my own facility, no chance.
You would never think it.
No
right?
chance.
It's the truth.
Not even close. And to have the equipment that I have, I have everything other than maybe one more piece of equipment that I would like. And looking back, when COVID happened, because I knew I was going to have to find a new place, and I'm looking at the finances, and I'm like, there's no way I can afford a $1,500 squat rack plus the barbell plus the plates plus the thing to hold the plates. Mm-hmm. The equipment starts to add up. No matter what business you're in, you're going to need supplies for your service or your product. And it adds up fast. And if you don't manage your finances right and keep everything in check and make sure, you have enough money for taxes at the end of the year, people just think you just take the money straight in your pocket and you're good to go, and you just throw off all the business expenses and you don't have to pay any tax. Yeah, some people do that, if you have a good accountant and so on and so forth. But people think there's such a big break for small business owners, but really at the end of the day, it's not a big advantage of what I guess you're told.
For sure. I'm just glad you touch on it like that, because you get these ads on these social platforms, Instagram, most definitely, where you can start your own business, and you get these nice pitched consultant advisors.
Yep.
Hey, look, this is how you can do it.
Yep.
Minimum cost.
Yep.
Quit your job today. You might start seeing those type of
Hey,
ads.
I'll be honest, I did one. I tried it.
Yeah.
I tried it.
How'd it work?
I spent like I'll be honest, I spent like $5,000, dude. And I was like, this guy's going to help me. I'm going to make a killing. He's saying I'm going to make 20 grand in a month. Here I come. Everybody's going to see me on social media. Didn't work.
Didn't work.
Sure, did I give it 110%? Probably not. But after I got in there and I started like looking, I was like, this is some shady shit. Like, I thought this was a little bit different than it was. You know, you'd have your weekly calls and so on and so forth. And I did learn some.
Yeah.
Did I learn $5,000 worth? No.
Probably not, right?
Maybe $500. But like, I learned some things, and I learned on, you know, how to keep an audience engaged and so on and so forth like that. And that's what pushed me to put myself out there with videos, because I never felt comfortable doing that. And, you know, now it's like no big deal, you know, put the camera up and let's talk and let me explain something. Let me explain something that I can help you out with, or something that you can help tell your mom about so her back doesn't hurt, or have her do this stretch so she can feel better tomorrow. You know, tell your aunt, whatever it is. But yeah, I see that all the time, and I see people doing it. And I see them because I can tell by what they put on their social media, and you know that they're kind of trying to draw you in to be addicted to whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And some people are legit, but others are just in it for the money.
For sure, and that's what I was getting to, in the sense that you see all this, and the fact is, I mean, look, for my own business, you know, we've been doing this now. I've been doing this with my father. If anyone listened to the first episode, you know, I've been doing this trade with my father since I was in 8th grade, you know, 7th, 8th grade, just handing tools and things. I mean, in order, and that's why I'm glad too, you said stay with your job before you decide to just go all gun ho. You want to phase it where it meshes well, where you're like, all right, I think I'm ready to do the jump now. I built my base. I have my target market that I know I want to reach. You're getting customers, right? You're getting clients.
Yep.
So you're seeing that. You're seeing the opportunity. And then you look at your goals and you're like, well, if I had time to get this stuff done, I can get to the next level. And that's where I was at, where I decided, like, all right, obviously to where I worked, the writing was on the wall. To just for what I seen in the way the company was going, I'm like, I don't want to work here. I don't see myself becoming a manager here. I see how they're treated. I see what's expected for the amount that you're paid for. Life-work balance. None of it didn't favor to me, you know. And when it came to reality, I just figured I want to be extremely happy with what I do, and I want to enjoy what I do. And it only took me 18 years to realize that, you know, one of the biggest passions that I have is the art of painting. And the custom carpentry, because you get to, for within that service, you get to be so creative, right?
Yep.
And like I said, it's an art, and I just love the aspect that I get to meet new people all the time. Like that's what's so great about that service is you're being welcomed into people's homes, you're being trusted, you're building relationships. There's no matter what, you're building a relationship. If you're a laborer on someone's, you know, in someone's company, or you're the owner, manager, whatever it may be. When you're interacting, especially with residential homeowners, you're creating relationships. I mean, the way we conduct our business and our services, we become, it's almost like family with a lot of them. You know, they see us as, you know, great friends. Give me a call. Hey, John, let's go grab some drinks this weekend. You know, so it's just the way it is. And that's the way business should be done. I imagine it's probably the same with you, with a lot of your clients. But the thing is, reverting back to it, you have to do this in stages. And the way you really find that you're going to succeed and do well, it's not these classes, going to business school, you know, going to college to get a business education. As I stated in the first episode, I'll maybe take 5 classes, what I went through in college. What helped me in college was a network, how to build relationships, how to talk to people, and really understand not even their issues, just understand who they are. Listen to what they have to say, learn who that person is. And I guarantee you can find some way that you can either help them or they can help you. The best way is to get anyone to feel valued and want to operate and work with you, deal with you. Is almost make them realize that they can help you. I mean, it's one thing to ask somebody for, you know, if they need your help, but to let them know, like, look, I might need your help as well. Like, could you give me a hand? That's one of the best things that you can bring value to somebody. And all this is learned as you go through your passion. And you're going to go through all these stages, as you said, and especially in the beginning. It's unbearable, where you're like, do I even keep going? right?
Yep.
You see all the money that you start investing, your time,
Mm.
and sometimes you're not going to see any results, and you're like, am I doing something wrong? Do I have to keep going back and changing what I'm doing? But the craziest part, you're going to learn from your failures, obviously, and you'll know exactly when you fail, because you're like, man, I should have never done that, right? Or whatever it may be. But it comes up, and you see it, and like you're like, oh man, like, all right, I'm just gonna be done. I'm gonna be done with what I'm doing, because it just hits you so hard. You have people telling you, obviously you're gonna have a ton of naysayers. Why are you doing this? Oh, that's stupid. That will never work. And they have no clue, because they never been in your shoes. They don't have the experience, the knowledge, the vision that you have, because they didn't do what you did, right? So they don't see what you're trying to create or envision.
Right.
So you're gonna have a lot of people try to give you their inputs. Might be coming out of because they're just jealous, right? Or they envy what you're having going on. They might see something that you really don't. I mean, it's always important to take some criticism, right?
Yep.
But you got to let that stuff you'll know what needs to be fixed.
Yep.
You really you'll know what's wrong, what's not. So you have to take that and analyze it the way you should. That's going to make you still be progressive. But you're going to go through those times. And what I can state, as you said to anyone else, if you're going to start your own business, dude, when you hit those walls and those barriers, just keep going, because where you think you're just still stagnant, you're not. Things are coming to fruition behind the scenes.
Yep.
Things are coming together. You might not get that job yet that you were thinking that you're going to get, or you might not get that client yet that you're thinking you're going to, but they're saying it. If you're putting it out there, you're making different connections, you're moving forward, you're trying something new, what happens? You start creating new avenues, and you start seeing different perspectives because you tried this. And you're like, that didn't work, but I know if I do this now, I can get to that spot, right? Or if I do this, you might run into somebody that goes, Dave, this is how you actually do it. Look, I had done this before. So you learn from people's mistakes, or you learn, and they'll tell you. And that's where you learn it all. It's all that life lesson, the reaching out, the networking, and then just trial and error.
Yep.
And it's failing forward. You don't just fail and be like, all right, whatever, I got to start from scratch. You don't have to do that almost all the time. I mean, maybe depending if you're starting something brand new in the company or whatever, you might be like, all right, let's just scale it back and let's start from where we were. But I can tell you, like, behind the scenes, when you're in them darkest moments and you're just like, man, I got, $200 left in my bank account, and like, what do I do? Do I keep going, and do I spend another 100 and only have 100 left? And and you can really get stuck. And I can just tell you, it's not a waste of time. It's weird, because when you hit those lowest points, it's just that one little second, that millisecond, that just boom, it hits. Got that call. Yo, we're on a $15,000 job now, right? You're like, boom, and you start seeing the wheels turn. And it's going to be back and forth, because you're going to try to venture into, and that's how you know you're doing it right. You're going to venture into new things, and then you're going to hit that wall of a failure. And you're like, dude, can I get that big? Can I get to that next level? Can I get into the commercial work? Or can I get my service implemented in every type of police force out in the East Coast of, with just along North Jersey, right? All right, Central Jersey, all of Jersey. All right, I'm going to get out to Delaware now, right? You don't know until you start asking and implementing your service, your knowledge, your experience, your main goal of what you're trying to put out there. And it's just going to keep coming, man. Like, it's so true. I mean, I look from, like I said, when I started the business 8 years ago, like legitimately started the business, until now. And as you said, would I ever thought that I was going to be here? With a logo up on the wall, trucks wrapped, 5 full-time employees working for me. It's like you look at it and you're like, man, I can't believe. And I look at where I'm at now, and it's like I still got a whole realm of where I want to go.
Right.
I'm just getting started.
Right.
So I think it's so important that you emphasize on that, is if you're gonna do this, do it right. Take the steps. I mean, some people. And things too, like, I started my company sort of out of desperation, because I knew, like, I didn't want to be where I was at. And I also knew, like, all right, well, if I can't stay in school, because that's how I started it. I couldn't stay in school because it was too much money. I wasn't in the company that I was at, that I left, that was what, 6.5 years, made great money. I wasn't in that position either. So my back was against the wall, and I'm like, well, what do I do?
Gotta
Like,
do
I still
something.
have some money. Say, do I go back and be a laborer and make $100 a day underneath the table?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe do I start my own thing? Because I already had enough knowledge of what it's like to work within the trades. So I vested my time into all those before I'm like, I could do my own thing.
Right.
So as you said, I think the biggest thing is do your due diligence, learn as much as you possibly can learn, start dabbling in whatever you feel that is your passion,
Mm-hmm.
and keep learning more, network, reach out to people that have the knowledge, the experience of those things.
Yep.
Get to know what they did wrong.
It's huge.
Get to know what they did right. And you're going to be able to just surpass if you just did it all on your own,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, the networking, the communication is key to really advance yourself quicker than if you're like, I'm going to go try all this on my own.
All right. Yeah. The mentor thing, or learning from somebody who's already done it. I'm sure many people have heard this before. You know, you have to try and find somebody who's been in that for years now and learn from their mistakes. So like I said, and back on like the naysayer thing. Like, so for instance, and I love my family, but like my family shot me down. They're like, "You're gonna do what? Strength and conditioning for golfers? What? What are you talking about?" And that's what I thought. You know, I was just only gonna do golf, and that was gonna be my niche. And I still work with tons of golfers. You know, I'm in a golf facility, but that's not all I do. You know, I use the same information that for any other trade or any other occupation or sport, just like we were talking about. But they're like, strength and conditioning for golf, there's no such thing. Well, I found an internship, and then I went through the internship, and I said, wow, this is great. Like, I actually like this. You have to put yourself in the environment to see, like, did I know I wanted to do strength and conditioning for golf? Well, I thought I did, but like, until, like, I thought I wanted to do strength and conditioning in the college realm, like as a college strength coach with like the basketball team or the football team. And there's nothing wrong with people who do that, but I put myself in that environment, and I was like, I don't like this. Like, they're controlled. There's a lot of politics involved where they're controlled by higher power, or like they just want to see weight on the bar, and the head coach just wants to see these guys deadlift 300 pounds, and you weren't able to really do what you want to do. And the strength coach was working, you know, 60 hours a day, 60 hours a week to make, you know, a salary that I didn't think justified what they're doing and how much time they're putting into that. So I was like, well, I'm not going to go get my master's degree to teach college athletes to be controlled by other people, to not be happy, and to not make money that I think is enough for the position. So then I found an entrepreneur who did it for the golfers, learned it, and I learned from his mistakes. So like you're talking about diversifying, you know, I went in strictly for golf, and now I'm working with, you know, people who work in corporate America, or people who I would consider work at a desk, or people who are police officers, people who do trades, landscaping, athletes. So I hit all the realms, but I guess what I'm saying is when I was in that position, he was mostly working with golf and general population. Opportunity came up, and I saw, you know, he was an entrepreneur who was broadening his horizon, trying to reach out to different markets. Long story short, we started working out with NASCAR pit crew teams. These NASCAR pit crew teams, guys, these are D1 football players, basketball players, hockey players.
That's amazing.
These guys got to pick up that, you know, 200-pound jack, or 200, I think it was 100-something pound gas can.
Okay.
And they got to run around the car as fast as possible without running out of the line, you know, in 10 seconds to fill that car up and get the hell back out of the way. Like, there's a lot of mechanics involved with that. These guys got to get down on a knee, jack the car up. They can't miss one lug nut, because then that driver's going to be behind. That driver's counting on you not to mess up. These guys are running as fast as possible to get that car done. And, you know, they're probably faster now, but like it was like 14 seconds, 13 seconds at the time.
Unbelievable.
I mean, that's very fast to change tires and fuel the car up or do whatever adjustments needed. So we started looking and breaking down the video and looking at the mechanics of, hey, how can we get them to be faster from the bottom of the tire changing position? How can they rip that tire off more effective than how they're doing it now? Where should their head be? What muscle should they use?
That's amazing.
We started breaking that down, and now he's diversifying even more, and he's kind of an inspiration to me. So now he's working with baseball players. So they're taking what they learned in golf, transferring it to baseball. The swings are very similar. Yeah. Now he's working with tennis players. And I'm kind of doing the same thing. I reached out. I've worked with a couple tennis players myself. But you have to not be scared to keep trying. Because if you really want it, you're not going to give up. You're going to have tons of doubts. I have doubts every day. It's normal. Those thoughts are just there. That doesn't mean you act upon those thoughts. Sometimes I'm like, well, what am I really doing?
Yeah.
And then the other days you're locked in. Not everybody's going to be, 100% full blown, full force, feeling perfect every day. Some days are good. Some days are bad. Some days you have more energy. Some days you don't.
Exactly.
Some days, you're going to be consistent, or some months you're going to be consistent with, say, your social media posts. Some months you're not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you just basically, I guess what I'm saying is you have to, if this is really what you're set out to do, it's one day at a time, because you can't get behind that one day. You can have your goals set up, but if you don't stay present on what you need to complete for that day, those future goals, they don't mean anything.
They'll never come to fruition. It's exactly as you stated it there. I mean, consistency is key as well. I mean, you gotta stay consistent. Now, are you gonna be consistent every? No, as you said, there's gonna be days where you're gonna doubt yourself and you're gonna be like, man, I really don't want to wake up and do this. Like, there's really not much on the schedule, right?
Yep.
You might be like, and you feel like there's nothing for you, but there's always something for you. Always, right? And that's where you get ahead. That's where you wake up in those days and be like, screw it, I'm still getting up at the same time. Let me just knock out a little quick workout, get something to eat, and let me get out there and start getting back to work.
Right.
Even though I might not have estimates lined up today, or might not have meetings with the clients today, right? I'm gonna go out and do something. And I mean, for me, dude, like, the schedule's always packed. Like, I'm always doing something. I'm either improving the networks that I'm on now, in the sense of, how I administrate my work within in the office, right? As you said, marketing, there's always a post I can work on and get ready to put out for the week. Like, I always like to try to do at least 2 posts a week.
Yep.
Keep the relevance of us out there, and always in front of some customer, let them know this is what we do, and these are the options that we have. So there's always something you do, but there's days where you're just like, you feel like there's something not for you to do, or you just don't want to do it, right?
Right.
And that's the days, like I said, that's what's gonna get you where you need to be much quicker, and that's what's gonna make you realize, like, even when the cloudy days come, you can still prevail and get a little bit of light, a little sunshine in there somewhere. As long as you just keep moving, keep pushing forward, and knock those days, because you're gonna get a ton of problems. I mean, you might have one day where the session didn't go the way you wanted it, right? And or the client just really didn't take to what you're trying to put out there. It just, everything doesn't, like you said, it's not sunshine, flowers every day, and
definitely not.
And you have to take that and understand that if you're gonna run your own company. I mean, it's like, as you said, some people get that connotation where they think, like, oh, you can just take off whenever you want, and you can, but your business isn't gonna succeed. Like,
you're gonna lose a lot of money for taking off that week, when you were supposed to be open. So, like, all those clients are gonna now, either be rescheduled for another month or the next week, and you're missing, potentially several $1,000s because you wanted to go on vacation. Yeah, I don't get paid. I don't get that 2 weeks vacation like you get.
Exactly.
And that's perfectly fine. And I don't think everybody's built to be an entrepreneur. The reason why I got into this, I feel is, growing up, I watched my parents come home from work, and they weren't happy, and I'm like, why aren't you happy? I start realizing that they don't love what they do. And unfortunately, not everybody loves what they do, but you can pull something good out of what you're doing. And if you don't, there's always an opportunity to change,
Exactly.
You have one life. If you don't love the job that you're in now, like I said, stay there and start a side hustle. That side hustle, that was my side hustle, which is now my company to where I am now. I had one client, 2 clients, one on Monday, one on Wednesday, one on Friday. It starts slowly building and building. And now you look at the schedule and you got 5, 6, 7, 8 people coming in almost every day. And it's like, well, that's because you kept pushing.
Exactly.
That's because you were resilient. That's because you knew this is what you wanted to do. And you didn't give up in those times where it's like, well, I only have one client and it's been 6 months. I don't know if this business is really going to work. But no matter who the client is or the individual you're selling to, if you do the best that you can, that you believe you should provide for them, it's going to come back to you because they're going to tell somebody else, or they're going to feel that much better. But like you said, I heard you speak in the first or second podcast about the law of attraction, and it's like, you believe what you want, say it's woo woo, but if you keep pushing towards your goal of whatever it is, you're going to get it. Might not be tomorrow, might not be in 2 years, but if that's really what you want to do, you'll get there. Just have to keep innovating.
Can I say it better? I mean, it's the truth. I believe in it. It's, as you said, it might be woo-woo, cliche of saying it, but it's true. I mean, what you put into this world is what you're going to get out of it. And that's who you hang out with, who you invest your time with, how you invest your time, right? What are you spending it on?
Right.
And we have so much time. Like, people think life's short. It really isn't, in the sense of you break it down and you see how much time you actually have to utilize.
Right.
But how are you using it? How much time are you actually utilizing it in the sense that it's benefiting you and it's benefiting somebody else?
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can go here for days. I know, because I get a lot of attraction on the phone for my business, for my ads. I'm like, I know there's a lot of people on their phone.
Yep.
And I imagine if you looked at screen time and how much individuals are on their phone, on average, you're at least looking 2 hours a day.
Easy.
At least.
You think about the younger generation, they're probably at like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Easily.
For
and it's
sure.
only going to get more. And there's pros and cons, and that's not the conversation we're having. But, I forget. I lost my train of thought. Take over.
Well, like you said, it's not the conversation we're having, but it comes back to the sense that the way you invest your time, right?
That's what we were saying, yeah.
The way you invest your time, it's really up to you. And no one's going to sit there and hold your hand and say, come with me.
Right.
Let's start your business. Let's keep your business on track.
Right.
Let's keep your passion on track, right?
You know.
It's going to be you to go, you know what, I want to wake up a little bit earlier today so I have more time to dedicate to whatever I want to, keep improving on. And it just, as you said it, you've seen your parents not being happy with what they did. And I grew up with parents just like that as well. I seen them doing jobs like obviously my dad took the turn to leave being a union painter and do his own thing, but he never invested the time to make it to what it is now.
Right.
And I always hear him say, man, I wish I did it where it would have been a little bit easier for you. I wish I did what you did right now. So I want to be in the position that I'm in, in the financial, position that he was in, and until we got what we're doing here. And it's still, it's still a struggle. It's not like we're well off and we're making millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, we're still growing and we're still investing and we're just making by. We're doing what we're doing, and it's been a long time coming for that. I mean, as I stated in the first episode, there was times where we didn't have electric, because we had laws in our schedule, and you had to hold off. You're 4 mortgages behind, and it's stuff that you grow with, realizing a lot of that stuff doesn't even matter anyway. The materialistic nonsense. I got this nice house. I got these nice cars. I got these nice clothes. First of all, none of that shit matters at all. It really doesn't. I mean, that's why I'm not running this business. I'm not running this business so I can have all those nice things and be like, look what I got. Look what you don't have. No. What I'm doing this is because, first of all, I'm looking for longevity, right? Of being able to have this within my family, right? I descend from a long generation of painters, and I want to make something of it versus just us being laborers, right? And then I want to have a place where I can help feed other families, right? Have people have a job and actually contribute something with a lot of value. Because that's the thing. Like, our services, and I believe so many businesses, when you have the right intentions, your value either behind a product or service is why it succeeds. Right? You're doing greater good and just versus, only benefiting yourself. And that's my whole goal behind all this. And does nice things come with it? 9 times out of 10 it does, because you're rewarded in a sense. People want to give you things because you're giving them so much. And so you get rewarded. And obviously, to run a business, you have to financially make sure that you're on track so you can stay in business and keep giving that service. Give that high quality that you can, utilize the tools that are accessible to you and better tools. And you got to charge and make sure you're making it. But at the same time, you're not killing anyone. They'd be like, oh, I just made the lottery off for this person, right? So it all comes together in the sense that when you align, you want to start a business, you better make sure whatever you're doing, it's not to just make yourself wealthy or make the company wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make everyone wealthy with your service or product that you're offering.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can do that, what happens? It comes back.
Yeah.
And then you can do whatever you want with it, however you want to look at it. But I'm doing this so I can share it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it, personally, if you could say it's, you could just say that's not right or, it's just selfish. But to me, there's so much here to share with everyone. But you have to do your part. You got to work towards something. You can't just be given something and be like, I deserve this.
Right.
And I feel a lot of people in today's world, they feel like they deserve so much. And it's like, look what goes into running a business. Look what goes into you being able to utilize our product or that service, right? And this is why I'm doing the podcast. And I'm bringing someone on like you and, bringing on all the other guests that I have planned to bring on. I want people to realize what goes into these products, these services, and why the value of what's being asked for in the sense of a price is positioned in it.
Mm-hmm.
Is why I'd stated.
Mm-hmm.
It's because we want to keep doing this. We want to keep offering, and this is what's involved in it.
Right.
It's not just sunshine and flowers.
Right.
So reverting back, if you're starting your own business, you make sure whatever you're doing, it's doing for the greater good.
Right.
It's not just you. It's not benefiting you. Would you be considered successful if you just worried about numbers and profits and successful in numbers and figures? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Materialistic things? Maybe.
Right.
But are you truly successful in the sense of value, happiness, why we're here in the first place, which is to communicate, to bring everybody within its group, whatever group you develop, make people feel valued, that they belong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what we're all here doing.
Yep.
At the end of the day.
Yep. Just trying to become better one day at a time. That's it.
So I think, like I said, man, I just wanted to bring you on here because seeing everything that you're doing, it's neat. It goes with obviously what we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
as a company. But I could just see it being implemented everywhere. I mean, I feel like your target market, your customer base, your client base, it's endless almost.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like now with the technology and things that you can implement, I just feel like it's the sky's the limit for what you're going to be able to do. I mean, what are you? So if somebody wants to utilize your service, how would they do that?
How? So they would reach out to me through email or call me, Movement Mobilizations at gmail.com, or call me. Phone number 609-315-9486. Text me, hey, I'm interested. You'd come in, run you through your assessment. So the assessment, I'll just throw down numbers for everybody if whoever's interested. So if you come in for your assessment, it's $100 for about an hour assessment. I come in, I run you through what are your goals. So I want to be really clear. I'm going to get some medical health history, make sure you're okay and you're good to work out. Then we run through, okay, what's your age, what's your weight, how's your food, all the stuff we talked about earlier. Are you practicing the diet? How long are you sleeping? How much water are you drinking? Just to make people aware, because they're like, wow, I don't drink any water. Man, I only sleep 5 hours. I didn't realize till Dave just asked me. And just making people aware of, wow, that's just another thing that I can improve on. And then we get into what are your goals. So I start everything at a 90-day goal. So 3 months from now, say you start with me tomorrow, what would you like to achieve? How can I help you? What do you struggle with? Get people really clear on what they need to do. So we run through the whole functional movement test, and following that test, I'll be able to conclude whether it's a mobility problem, meaning you just don't have the range of motion to get in the position needed to be. Stability, as in you're just not strong enough to be able to control your body weight in that position. Or if it's a motor control problem, as in, hey, my brain doesn't understand what position my body needs to be in because I was never educated, or I don't know how to create whatever it needs to be created with the mechanics of the body. So run you through the test. After that test, then we go into, so I do things online. So we can do an online training through Zoom where you just need to make sure you have some sort of equipment, and I can confirm that we would be able to get an effective workout for your goals at home. But other than that, in person, so you can either see me once a week or twice a week. So once a week for 3 months. I do 3 month contracts because I want people to be committed. If you come in, you're locked in with me for 3 months minimum, because I'm going to keep you accountable so you reach the goals that you asked me to help you get to. It's not going to happen in a month. You know, the whole New Year thing with fitness. I'm going to lose 40 pounds. I'm going to get big muscles.
Yep.
The January drop off, February comes, everybody's out of the gym, and it's done. Happens at every facility, every gym, every New Year. My job is to not let that happen. And my job is also to allow you to see the results, because it takes 6 to 8 weeks for the body to show adaptations. So if you've never worked out before, you're probably not going to see anything aesthetically, because people want to see, oh, I lost some pounds or so on and so forth. But neurologically, a lot of things occur in those 6 to 8. You'll get a lot stronger. You'll build more muscle fibers, more connections neurologically, to produce more force output and strength. But if you wanted to come in twice a week, it's $400 a month to come and see me twice a week. And that just is more so for individuals looking to get there a little bit quicker, because you get another hour with me, so I can work. We can start progressing forward faster. And then you wouldn't have to potentially hold yourself as accountable if you did one time a week.
Gotcha.
But yeah, those are the services. I don't have any group fitness going on anymore at the moment. My facility isn't the largest. It's more so for one-on-one training, but hopefully in the future, I basically shut it down for the whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
So hopefully in the future I can at least get like small group of 3 or 4 people who will feel comfortable working out together in kind of a high intensity interval training class. I would like to do mobility classes and such. But yeah, just reach out and we can have a conversation on how I can help you. It's the first thing I ask is like, hey, thanks for reaching out. How can I help you? What do you need? And see if I can help out.
That's awesome.
And then from there, we just keep on taking steps, reach those goals.
That's great. That's and I don't know if you mentioned, can they reach out to you on Instagram as well? Like DM you on Facebook?
DM me on Facebook and Instagram. It's Movement Mobilizations. The website is movementandmobilizations.com.
That's great. So you have a website and everything they could go on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that'll give a whole description of what you offer within services and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. It's all in there. Yeah, I work with a lot of golfers. Working with some hockey players. I work with a couple folks who are heavy lifters. They do a lot of training themselves. A lot of volume. They're very fit individuals, but may have some pain here and there, and I'm trying to get them out of pain. Some people in the law enforcement. Really, anybody who's trying to become the best that they can be and learn. So my goal with my program is like, people say it's not a good business strategy, but like you said, if you provide a good service and people feel that much better after 3 months, they're probably going to send somebody else your way, or they're going to continue. But my goal with everybody who walks in that door is to make sure after those 3 months, if we don't reach the goal, we're at least close. And I tried to push you to get there. But the main thing is that, hey, you understand all the positions needed, so you can go out and you can work out, or you can go do whatever task and protect yourself and become better at that task every day, so you don't hurt yourself, and so you can live longer and healthier and be a better human being.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's phenomenal, dude. It's a great, honestly, it's just a great mission statement that you have there.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see it on Instagram, I'm like, man, that's beneficial. Like, I want to, honestly, I'm gonna have to do a session with you, because
come on in.
I'm like, every day I catch myself, like, because obviously I've done a ton of sports and things like that where, proper just development of what you're doing within your motions is key.
Yes.
But there's always something that you can improve on. I mean, especially golf. Like, I played golf. I got the golf scholarship for high school and everything like that. And playing golf every day, you'll notice little things that are just slightly off. Yeah. And your whole game can be completely ruined. And that's in anything. I mean, wrestling, like, I can imagine jiu-jitsu's like that. And
oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Just all these minor it's the way, obviously, like, and as I was stating to you, it's the way you conduct yourself. I think when you get the right postures, movements, you're just going to feel 10 times better.
Yeah, and I forgot. Yeah, I work with a couple of folks who do yoga as well, and like basically,
I love yoga. I do hot
I'm
yoga.
a big fan. Yeah, yeah.
It's amazing, man. Hot yoga
It's
is
a lot
like
harder than it looks.
so hard. You know what's crazy about it? It brought me back when I used to do, wrestling, some of the MMA classes, because obviously to get the rooms hot, like
Yes.
so hot, so you can lose weight if you had to cut weight for tournaments,
Right,
events and stuff
wrestling,
like that.
yeah.
And man, I remember just going in there and it was tougher because you're looking for stillness in the sense of in this room that's 110 degrees, at least, and you're doing these movements that you never put your body through, and you're feeling it, like you're feeling your body just stretch, and you're like, man, I can't even hold it any longer. My muscles are getting fatigued because they're not used to being in this position.
Yep.
So, looking at what you offer, I can only imagine what my performance would be just in hot yoga if I came and did a few sessions and everything.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, a lot of my job is to show you how they correlate. Like a lot of yoga is a lot of isometric holding positions and breathing deep and controlling those positions. A lot of people don't know how to optimize those positions. It's like you're hanging out and say downward dog, but hey, did you know you need to grab the ground with your hands and push your hands in the ground and try and spread the floor apart to pull your shoulder blades in a more stable position. And breathe, I'm sure you've heard breathe through your belly and get your diaphragm going, and all depends. But yeah, it's a growth oriented process, like everything is. But it's great because me myself, like I said, I moved off late. It took me like 2 years. No bullshit. It took me like 2 years to get a decent squat because my ankles were so wrecked from playing ice hockey and being in a hockey skate my whole life. So like my ankles never really worked. They're still pretty stiff and it's getting better, but like you start to see, hey, on day one, when you come in, I'm lacking shoulder rotation, I'm lacking hip rotation. In a couple months, man, I can actually rotate my hips and I can move around better and I can actually stand up for long periods of time without my back hurting. And you start to see how much better you start getting slowly but surely. But like you said, there's always something to work on, and there's always one way you can get better. And that's really what I love about what I do is I'm always teaching people of how you can be a little bit better, and that's kind of what really got me into it. Is like you said, I just want people to succeed, really. That's it. At the end of the day, it's like, hey, I'm here to teach you the information. And I want you to take this information, go tell your friends and family. They don't have to come see me. Go tell them so they're not in pain.
Exactly.
Go tell them so they can be better at their sport.
Yeah.
If they want to learn more, come on in. Tell them to watch my videos or come on in and maybe do a group workout with me. But, like, tell everybody because everybody needs this information.
And the thing is, too, like, some people might say that's a bad business model in the sense that you're giving all your secrets away.
Right.
You're not, because they're not doing it every day. First of all, when they improve, you're getting to see new things that you probably haven't seen before just because you're like, man, I never put somebody in, or I didn't see someone do that yet. Where I'm like, this is a good way you should do it.
Yep.
So you're always getting to modify and improve it. Because I see with my own business. Every day I come on job sites, I'm like, let's do this now. Because I'm seeing this happen.
Different order of operations.
Let's do it, and let's implement this as well. So you're constantly growing as your service. So you're not giving all your secrets away, and even if you were, you're still gonna have a ton of people coming to you because they're not doing it every day. It's not a regimen for them.
Right.
Where you come in, it's like let's listen to the man. People want somebody to learn from. They want a professional, a coach, where you're like, man, I just know whatever he's providing me today, I probably couldn't have done it on my own.
Right. Like you said, value.
It's that value. And it's that moral support. And you don't get that when you're doing it by yourself all the time.
No. And you can only do, like, even me for myself, like I said, I thought I was doing all the right stuff until I started learning what I learned over at Top Team Sports Performance. And I started, looking at it. It's like, man, I thought I knew a lot as a 21-year-old graduating college with a bachelor's degree, and I didn't know shit. And I was like, man, he's coaching me to coach, and I'm becoming a better coach. But you can only do so much on your own. If you really want to learn how to do, especially really anything, you have to learn from a coach or an individual who's been doing it for quite some time,
Yeah.
because you might, especially in my field, you might feel or think you're doing it right until somebody of greater expertise looks at it. Like, perfect example, like, oh, I thought my squat was really good. And then like I look at it and like, hey, did you know you're like your back rounds at this point, or like your ankle breaks down at the bottom, or like you shift your weight to your toes. And they're like, wow, I never knew that. I thought that's
Yeah.
how you're supposed to do it. But like, if you were doing that on your own, you might have been doing that for another 25 years and thought, yeah, my squat's great, until like one day you sprain your ankle, or like you twisted your knee. But yeah,
It's true.
never ending learning.
Never, and I think that's what keeps you ahead. That's what keeps you innovative. That's what keeps you with the times, and that's what keeps people coming back. Keeps people using your service, and I think it's applicable to anyone's business. It's the way it needs to be. I think there's, and that's what we're valued with when we talk about technology. There's never been a time where you haven't been exposed to so much content that can be really worth your while to view. I mean, I have my guys do it. I'm like, look, every day we're not going to be doing the same type of stuff on the job.
Right.
You're blessed with YouTube, and YouTube has a ton of experts that are doing something right. Send it to me before you go and practice it. I'll let you know if it's something that I would say, yeah, it's worth your while. And go look it up. I said, if you want to get better in what you're doing, there's so much exposure now. You don't have to go find somebody in person. There's a lot that you can learn right on these platforms. And now, is it better to find somebody? Of course, it's always better to interact, because now you can create a relationship. You're going to even learn more.
Right. But if you don't have that time,
or you don't have those opportunities, right?
You might not have that in your little town in Arkansas.
Exactly. Like I was blessed in the sense that obviously my father was a professional union painter, right? I worked in all these other trades where I got to learn what it's like to manage companies, talk to customers, and how not to talk. I mean, I learned a lot how not to with some companies I work with. You know what I mean? Like, but the thing is, looking at it in a full picture, you will never get any of that if you just stayed home, right? And sat and played video games.
Right.
Sat behind your phone.
Yeah.
Was on Netflix binging. The way you grow and the way you're going to get to really succeed in any passion. It's like, for anyone out there that they're like, I don't like my job. I don't see myself being here. But you have no clue what you want to do in your life. What I can tell you is start doing things that you're not doing right now. And make sure those things are worth value, right? They're either improving yourself or somebody else. If I could tell you where to start, look to help improve somebody else. Obviously, you got to help make sure you're comfortable where you're at and you're happy with the results of what you're providing to yourself every day before you go help someone. You got to help yourself before you help somebody.
For sure.
But if you're really lost and you're like, I don't know what my purpose here is on this earth. I don't know I can tell you the easier and fastest way you're going to find it is by start making yourself uncomfortable and start trying new avenues of things, right?
Exactly what I was going to say. You have to be uncomfortable every day. There's many things I don't want to do. I don't want to look at my finances. I don't want to be a bookie. Like, I don't want to write down what I paid for, who paid me, all that behind the scenes stuff. I don't want to sit there and put up new photos on my website. Like, I don't want to reach out to other physical therapists. Like, I just want it all to come to me, Like, I don't want to do that work. Who would?
Yeah.
But like, that's the part of the being uncomfortable, putting yourself out there. I heard you talk about like communicating with other businesses and other forms of different markets to reach into. But like, just putting your foot in the door and be like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do, or this is what I'd like to do. Could I come and learn from you for a week or observe what you do? Hey, would you like to come in for a free consultation? Because you have to start. You have to start somewhere.
You have to.
And just to tap on that being uncomfortable thing, because that's probably that's the number one way, I think, reason, maybe not number one, but one of the top reasons people don't succeed is because they're too comfortable. And if you start getting comfortable, hey, I get this job, I make good money, they pay me $65,000 a year. I don't have to worry about anything anymore. But hey, Monday through Friday, I hate my life, and I come home and I'm pissed. Like, and like, I wonder what I'm doing all day at my current position. You're probably going to get comfortable at just complaining about that every single day, and just being comfortable with, oh, I make good money, So I'm just going to stay here anyway. I'll tell you, I went to this was, it's a couple years back now. It's been 10 years. Yeah. So, I think it was my first or second high school reunion, right? I was nowhere where I am now,
Yeah.
but I was asking people because I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do forever. I'm like, well, how's everything going? Oh, I hate my job. They just hired me because I have a college degree. I'm in all this debt. Long story short, just seeing all these people who were extremely unhappy, and that led me to push to start the business too. And I was like, well, like, oh, I hate my boss, and I'm like, well, if you hate your boss, like, do your own thing. Like,
exactly.
do you like, and the people again, like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. Well, what do you like doing? Exactly. There's got to be 5 things that if it was a Saturday or Sunday morning and you had the whole day to do nothing, what are you going to go do?
Yep.
That's what you should put your occupation. That's what your career should be.
Exactly.
You know, if you like doing little projects in your backyard and building things out of wood, maybe look into carpentry. You know, if you really enjoy taking care of the garden and cutting your grass and maybe planting some new flowers and putting up new vegetables, maybe get into landscaping or starting small gardens in people's backyard. The sky is the limit. It's just about getting clear with yourself and what you want to do.
What makes you wake up? You know,
Yes.
What makes you like motivated? When you walk by, you're just like in awe of like, I want to be a part of that, or I want to. And you got to start somewhere.
Right.
You're not going to think if you think you're going to be on top in the next. And this is going working anywhere, whatever it may be. If you think you're just going to have it all, like you're already at a loss. You're never going to get where you want to be at all.
Right.
You have to realize you got to start somewhere where you don't know jack shit.
Right.
You don't know nothing.
Right.
And you should keep that mentality all the way through, even when people consider you the expert.
Mm-hmm.
You should always act like every day is your first day on the job.
Yep.
And if you do that, you're always going to be ahead. You're going to be with the times, and you're going to be somebody that everybody wants to be around because you're allowing yourself to be exposed. You're allowing yourself to intake things that you wouldn't have if you let your ego get in front of it. And like, now I already know that.
Right. And you have to be vulnerable, too.
Yeah,
you have to be like, oh, I didn't know that. Or, hey, you know, I messed up this job, and it's my fault. Or like, hey, we did an exercise, and your knees hurt because I didn't teach you how to do it right, or I thought it was the right exercise. Well, it's the wrong exercise, so I failed. Now I'm embarrassed, and I'm going to be a man or be a human being and be like, look, I messed up. I'm sorry. I did the wrong thing. I did a lot of research this weekend, so we're going to try something else instead.
That goes a long way versus lying and bullshitting somebody just to make you think you're making yourself look better. Right? And then honestly, you lie to yourself and you think like, oh, I can get away with that now.
Well, people can see right through it.
Yeah, they can see through
they're
it,
like, well,
for sure.
Dave, he's just going to keep me doing this exercise, or he's going to play it off. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, I made a mistake. Sorry. I don't want your knees to hurt anymore, so we're going to do this instead because I picked the wrong exercise or whatever it is, you know. In any position, you need to admit when you're wrong, be vulnerable, and throw it out there. Like, I messed up, and learn from it.
Yep, it's the truth, man. And when you're honest and you show that, people are going to work with you. They're not going to be upset with you and like, I'm not coming back to him.
Right.
Like, you know what, Dave was honest about it. I mean, it just happened the other day on the job for me. You know, I was looking around. Guys already got done all their work. Mm-hmm. And I came back just to check on everything, you know, follow up with the homeowner, receive payment. I'm walking around and looking at everything. Homeowner didn't notice any of it. But I seen a couple, like 2 or 3 spots, small, minute spots. But I'm like, this is our work. This is what we pride ourselves on. Mm-hmm. I wasn't blaming the crew because the lighting was insufficient in the areas that we worked in. But the time of the day, you had some light peek through in certain areas, and I noticed. I'm like, this is showing a little bit. This was missed. This wasn't either double coated or whatever. I said, our guys will be back tomorrow to go do that.
Nice.
And by doing that, you're upholding to the value of what they're paying for.
Right.
Your standards, and like I said, that's your work.
Yep.
That's your work. When they're coming to see that, anyone, you know, say somebody else comes in and has painting experience, they're like, man, you paid that and they didn't even finish painting, or
right.
You know, it's just, you got to give what people deserve, and it's up to you to confirm that you're doing that. And if you're not, you better call it out, make it aware, and say, look, I'm sorry that this didn't happen this time around, but we're coming back to make sure we uphold to what I said we were going to do. Right. You at least give that as an option, because it's not going to be perfect. And that's everything. And it's no matter whose business. Some products come out faulty. What happens? Good companies, we're so sorry. Don't worry about shipping. We're going to ship another one out to you.
Yep.
Keep that product. You know, that's on us. And accidents happen. Mm-hmm. You know, everything's not going to be perfect. But as long as you're willing to uphold to that service, you'll never go wrong.
It's true.
But it's when you try to deny it, try to hide it,
Right.
that's when you're having issues.
Right.
And, and that's all throughout an organization. No matter if you work for a company and you're trying to hide issues that you've done, own up to your stuff.
Yeah, and it sucks because, like we just said, it sucks in the point of how you feel because it's uncomfortable to be wrong or to be vulnerable.
Well, you don't want to look stupid.
Yeah, you feel like an idiot or you're embarrassed.
You don't want to
get
be
that
reamed
feeling
out
in your stomach, and you're like, "Oh man, I really messed up. My boss is gonna be pissed. I can't imagine. They might think I'm not professional. They might think I don't know what I'm doing. That happened a lot as being a young coach and and trying to be confident in yourself and either whether it comes to selling my service in the beginning, I wasn't confident with talking about money or saying hey, this is what I provide, until you start to show or feel the confidence in the value that you have, that hey, yeah, my services are worth this much money because this is what I'm going to offer you. This is why it's important. And this is just my vision on how I can help you or how I can complete the task the best that needs to be done.
Exactly.
But yeah, doing that vulnerability, it feels awful, but it makes you stronger and it makes you become better at your trade.
You come out as a better person.
Yes.
And I was on the other side of the fence where I tried to deny it, try to put blame on somebody else.
Right.
I did a little segment on my Instagram. And it was one of my motivational segments that I do for Monday.
Yeah.
Whenever I can get it out.
Right? Yeah, I love it.
And yeah, it happened to me at work. I made this elaborate report where it was cross-functional. Anyone can utilize it. And it produced these results that we never had before with, combining a couple of reports. And I went away on vacation, sent over the wrong file. The employee that was supposed to run that report for the week ran it. The results came out skewed. I get a call, from my boss. Hey, John, this report isn't producing the right numbers. We double checked on it. They're not looking right this week. And I'm like, oh, well, it has to be right. It's always right when I run it. It must be their fault, for running it. They must have done something wrong. They didn't plug the right numbers in. And instead of me going, you know what, before blaming anyone, saying, you know what, it might have been, my fault. Let me check the report. I apologize for that. I'll make sure that I send over the right one, or let me double check and I'll see if what's the issue here.
Right.
My biggest thing is I don't want to look like I'm the one that's wrong. I want to put the blame on somebody else.
Right.
So, obviously that was worse because then I had to go in and be like, I got to man up to all this. I had to apologize to the employee, go into my boss and say, look, it was actually my fault. I apologize for that. It wasn't what you called's fault. Don't put on that blame.
Right.
It looks worse.
Yeah, and taking that responsibility is not easy. And that's the one thing about starting a business or running a business. There's nobody else to blame.
Yep.
You don't get up go to work in the morning. You're not going to get paid. You don't go out there and preach what you're trying to provide. You're not going to get paid. If you don't show up and make sure your employees are doing the right job, or be a positive influence for them to stay motivated and stay focused and be happy while doing. That's one thing I learned. I don't have any employees right now. It's just me. I run everything myself. But when I was in North Carolina, being an employee of, it was only a four-man company. The owner, myself, a chiropractor, and an office manager. Just realizing the environment of how fun it was. I was really, man, we're coming in, we're having fun, we're making people better. On some off times, we'd play a couple games of ping pong or mini basketball and still have fun. But when there was time to get back to work, we got back to work and we were professional. But there's got to be, a good balance. There's got to be good vibes. There's got to be direction. And you have to be responsible for, hey, that wasn't the right time to, go to the bathroom. You're training somebody and it's like, wait until they finish their set, then go to don't start like, I'm going to run to the restroom, or, I made mistakes when I was a young coach, like, hey, you said the wrong cue, you made them do the exercise wrong, or you forgot to give somebody their food log or whatever it is, but you take full responsibility. And especially when you start from scratch, you start to see like, I'm not doing enough, or hey, there's a little bit more, and if I want this to work, I need to be responsible and make sure that I hit these goals when they need to be hit.
No, it's important. Integrity is the most important thing. If you're an employee, obviously as a business owner, manager, whatever it may be, no matter how high of a level you are, you got to always have integrity, and that's either with your customers, like I said, your employees. It's the most important. And if you work for the right people, because you can get bosses that could care less. You tell the truth. They still don't value. Oh, see, this is why we don't want to put you here. Like, you could always have those type of managers. It's my way or the highway, anarchy. It's no autonomy for you to do your own thing. You're being micromanaged, and you do screw up. They can't wait to capitalize and ream you out for it, right? Because they're just unhappy with their position.
Right.
They're not succeeding where they want to be, and they're not doing. You will get that, but if you're working for the right people, and you telling the truth, they're gonna value. They're gonna respect you more because they know when time comes, if they have to count on you, and they have to trust you and doing something, they're like, look, he's honest.
Right.
Something happens, he's gonna let us know.
Right.
Or she's gonna let us know.
And you'll normally be rewarded for that in the future whenever that time is the right time.
Now, I'm not saying keep messing up and be like, oh, I'm sorry, and you're not learning from the mistake. Like, that's a whole different ball game.
Right.
But people make mistakes.
Right.
And if you're not doing it all the time, and you got to just be honest. And be like, look, I screwed up on this one. I want to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Right.
This was where I messed up, and I want to make sure everything I do is going to result in the sense of not happening. And it's just important, man. I feel like, and this is stuff we just learn, you go through, and being a business owner, it's the way it needs to be. You got to make the culture where you want to be able to train. Do you have employees right now? Or is it just you?
No, it's just me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do you ever see your company going to that point where you like to have?
It's a really good question. I'm sure. Eventually, I'd be interested. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how I look at my mentor and how he did it to me, I was grateful because I was in the right position at the right time. But he was looking for somebody like myself who didn't really know anything. You're looking for somebody who's interested in learning, and he put me in the environment where I was able to ask questions. So I was always asking questions when it was the right time. You know, like, oh, why did we do this? Or what do you think about this? Or, why was their knee in this position? And, it put me in an environment to thrive and start learning. And I would be interested in having employees who have the same or similar interest as I did when I first got into it. Because you can tell if they're really interested or if they're just here because they're here,
Exactly.
Because it's just another dollar that they're going to get in their bank account just making money, or they're here because they want to be there.
They want to be there. They want to learn.
And I really wanted to be there. So I think for that to happen, I'd really have to find somebody who would really want to be there, because I do really enjoy coaching. And it's not to say that there aren't really good coaches out there, but it's hard to, I guess, see, or I guess it's hard to find somebody who has the passion and the drive as I did to get everything rolling, and the interest to learn, like you said. But maybe in the future.
It's obviously their attributes that you want from somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their characteristics you want employees to have. They want to be they want to be there, right? Where it's just getting a paycheck and saying, "Oh, I got a decent job," right? It's important, and honestly, do they even have to go to school for that kind of stuff, right? Maybe this is somebody just like, man, I really like what you're doing. I feel like I can be a huge help, and I'd love to learn that stuff and be able to apply that as well. And see, the thing that's amazing, man, the best employees are somebody that wants to learn and they're committed. They show up every day, they want to learn, and they're committed. They don't have to have experience in what you're looking at, as your service.
Right.
If they just want to come and say, look, teach me what I need to know so I can apply what you're doing. That's who you want working for you, man. And your culture will show that. Your videos, people are going to see what you're doing. You're going to have individuals reaching out to you. Can I come work for you? Like, I would love to work with you or work for you. It will happen. Yeah. Because you're going to develop not only, like, one thing that I really want, obviously, any business owners that come on the podcast and anyone that's listening to this, one thing that really makes a difference, some people might think you're just selling to your customers on these platforms when you're putting out videos, content, pictures of your work or services, but you're also really advertising for employees. You're going to see people seeing what your culture is like, the way you operate, what you're putting out there as a service, and you're going to have individuals want to be behind that and be a part of that.
Right.
And they'll reach out to you. I already have it. And I'm, look, this year I really want to grow the business, and I'm planning on bringing on another 2 employees at least. And I have 3 people that reached out to me already. Said, John, I really want to be a part of your company. Like, either it was referred or they see what's going on.
For sure.
And that's how you get value, and that's how you get valuable people to work for you. Do they have experience? And they do. Great. If they don't, a lot of times it's even better, because then you get to mold them and sculpt them into the way that you really want your workforce to look like.
Right.
So, sometimes I truly don't believe that, like, they need to have a full stack resume. Got to go to this school. You got to have this academic knowledge. Because I can tell you right now, I know a ton of people that went to school for something and got jobs in another field.
Oh, almost everybody I know, to be honest with you.
Like, schooling doesn't qualify you for a position.
No.
Like I said, what really qualifies, it's going to make you successful as a company, but also as an employee. You, as an employee standpoint, you want to be committed and you want to be eager to learn, right? Those 2 things, and you come in with consistency throughout, you're going to excel in whatever is taught to you.
Couldn't agree more.
Now, from an employer standpoint, that's the type of person you want to look for. No matter if someone comes in a resume, I have all this knowledge and experience. I was making this much money and I was a manager in this position. Or you got this guy right here. I only have experience in this one job, but I did have some attributes that can lead and put me on the right path to this position. But this guy right here with the stacked resume is like, I already know everything. Can't wait to come in your company, show you what's what, right? And they're not eager to learn because they think they already know everything. And meanwhile, they have a lifetime to keep learning something new. Because everyone has different perspectives, different experiences and knowledge that they could be taught to that guy to make them, or that person, that woman, to be better. But this kid's wide open, just, ready to learn everything and take it like a sponge.
Open book, yeah.
I'll be going with that person 24/7. You're going to pay less for that person. You're going to get more out of them. And then you'll be able to contribute and obviously pay more for that person versus, I got to pay $80,000 because this guy already was at that position as a manager, right? And really, he's not bringing that much value. He's just doing the day-to-day task, depending on what he wants to contribute to.
Right.
So a lot of time, I'm taking the most eager. I'm taking the one that wants to learn, wants to just complete things, achieve things, make themselves better, but also obviously make whoever you're serving better.
Right. Yeah. Whenever that time comes, I couldn't agree more. That's what I'll be looking for.
That'd be great, man.
When it comes, do I want that? Yeah. I think at one point, I think I'll be tired of coaching after like 30 years of doing, doing it over and over again. As much as I love it, I love the coaching aspect and the programming aspect and the teaching, just teaching and watching, the connection you build with people and how they get better, and watch them from, hey, you remember from day one, like you could barely do anything without your back hurting. How about now? Or, hey, remember when you could only pick up, you could only lunge 20 pounds and now you're lunging 60s, whatever it is. I really enjoy that, but I know there's going to be a time where it's like, hey, take more of the managing side of things. But, sky's the limit. Who knows what's going to happen?
I look at your business model, I look at your service, and I think you just got so much opportunity, man, to keep exploring, growing that, clientele, that target market. And I think, like you said, sky's the limit. You're going to have a lot of opportunity, man. It's exciting.
One day at a time. It is exciting.
Yeah, man, Dave, like so we're looking at the time now. It's 2 hours, but
yeah,
how fast does that go, dude? Huh?
That's flying. I checked over and it said 1:30 something. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's amazing how fast the time. Like you're in the seat and you start talking, you don't even realize. You're like, wait, where the hell's the time going? Right?
I agree. You have any other questions? Anything big topics that you think I could help provide answers to?
I feel like we covered a lot in the sense, if anyone's out there looking to start their business, I think we give them a decent roadmap to realize what to keep in mind when you're doing it. You know you're going to fail. Just keep staying to the grindstone. Keep moving forward. Don't let those roadblocks and those really down times and dark times that, stop you from getting where you want to go, because honestly, that might be that millisecond. That's all you needed. A little bit extra time, dedicate it.
Right.
And boom, you're turning the corner.
Right. And like big thing, I guess, to conclude, what I would say is just like never be afraid to innovate or change what you're doing. because like you said, I was listening to the first 2 episodes. There's going to be times like COVID. Nobody thought there was going to be a pandemic virus that spread. Like, I don't. I look in the. I go to bed at night every day, and I'll be honest. And knock on wood, I hope this business keeps thriving, and I keep doing what I can do and helping people every day. But like, COVID hit, and I was like, "Whoa!" The gym I worked out of shut down. And I was like, "Yeet!" Like, I'm done. Like, I was thinking, like, that's it. I'm done. Like, how am I going to find another facility? Luckily I saved a lot of money and I met another person who had an opportunity. But like, I never thought, like, I had to innovate within, I don't know, what was the quarantine? A couple months. I need to innovate, build a new facility out, change my location, change everything. But you're always going to have different ideas pop in your head every day, and there's never going to be one size fits all answer to whatever you need to get done or whatever you're trying to do. So always, I don't know, you might not be a person who writes things down, or you could write them down or put them in your phone or put them on paper or say them out loud and record your voice of what you think is your goals, and just keep innovating. Innovate every day, because you're, like you said, the small business that you start with at day one is going to be a different business, at day 365, at day 60, at day 100. It's always going to be changing. Always. How my website was set up when I first set up is not how it looks now. How I guess I would say I marketed myself of human performance and sports performance. That's not how I started. Getting thinking I thought I was just going to be doing more of the golf fitness. Now I'm working with everybody. Now I'm working with hockey players. You're always going to be innovating something. Hey, I think I'm going to be doing this exercise. Well, now let's change it and we're going to try something different. Whatever it is for your occupation, just don't stop innovating, because it's a never-ending process of change. I look at the photos, like you scroll back on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and even like I look at pictures of the first couple photos I've taken or old photos of clients, and you look at those photos, and you're like, man, like, that's the exercise I was doing at that time, at this location with that person who you might not talk to anymore, but that job that you completed. It's like, wow, like, you did that, like for instance, I did that by myself. Well, now I have 2 employees, or now I have 1 employee, or now, instead of doing that in 2 hours, we get that job done in 1. We change our order of operations, or, hey, and instead of doing, this stretch, we do a different stretch, or whatever it applies to it. You have to keep being optimistic and keep innovating.
Yeah, it's there 2 major goals, man, and aspects that you got to add to your business if you're not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most important, man. It really is. When you want to get somewhere, and you want to stay within the times and be relevant and be around, you have to. You got to keep innovating.
Yep. Like, there's no business that has been able to succeed without innovating. Let me give you one more quick example, just in case you don't understand. Is like, hey, like Chipotle, right? So like, it's normally fast casual. You go in, you get your food. Well, the pandemic happened. What did they do? They got the app rolling, and they stopped, and you had to order it on your phone and go in and pick it up. That they never thought that was going to happen. Unfortunately, that happened to a lot of restaurants. With the outdoor dining thing, and let's not get into the whole COVID thing, but that was another innovation point. Like, oh, well, now we got to somehow get tents outside. Now we got to somehow keep these people warm. Now we got to figure out how we can get the food out there. Even people with working out, like, hey, now we got to do workouts outside. Now we got to wear a mask. Whatever it is, life is going to keep throwing curveballs. It's like, you're not going to hit everyone out of the park, but you got to make contact on a couple of them.
If you want to stay afloat, you want to stay alive, there's no excuses. You go, all right, well, what can we do now? Right? Mm-hmm. What's next?
Right.
Let's get it moving.
Yep.
And see how this works, right? It's the way it is. I mean, that's life. And I always say, I feel business is life. It's the comparison between both. If you run a good business, you're running a good life,
mm-hmm.
In the sense that they go hand in hand. And same thing, if you're going to wake up in your life, what are you going to do? You're going to stop living? You're going to just start sitting back and letting the whole world go around you? You're going to wake up and start changing a little bit of what you do.
Right.
Improve yourself a little bit better.
Right.
Eat better, like you said, work out.
Yep.
Improve your,
Yep.
mobilization.
Work
and all.
on your form. How's your painting
Yeah,
stroke?
yeah.
You know, are you making sure the layering is properly? Whatever. You know, how's your sanding? Are your sanding job better than before? Can you see
Yeah.
any marks in the wall? Okay, my craft is getting a little bit better, and over time, that experience just keeps on
Just
building.
get better, man. And that's, I'm telling you, it's the biggest thing. And today, it's accessible. It's technology. It's all over.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no excuses in the sense that I can't because I don't have this person teaching me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
No. You have it all in front of you. Now it's your time to determine what's your time to invest your time into.
Right.
Who's worth it to watch and who's not. I mean, you can see results and how things are turning out and how they do things, and you try it for yourself,
Yep.
and you just get better and get better, and,
Yep.
and that's really what it comes down to, man.
And rolling back into the time thing, and one last thought is like you're saying, like if everybody has enough time, it depends on what you're doing with your time. If you're coming home and you're playing Call of Duty for 4 hours, it's fine to decompress and play some Call of Duty or watch Netflix or be on Instagram and just flying through there, you know, just trying to decompress or see what's going on in the world, read the news. It's fine. Should you be doing it for 4 hours if you're trying to build a business? Probably not. No. Should you be watching like 5 Netflix shows in a row if you're trying to quit your job that you're at now and start your business tomorrow? No. It's just one day at a time. If you work 12-hour shifts and you work like a dog and you're doing everything you can to survive, can you put 1 hour towards your business either in the morning before your day starts or at the end of the day? Because if not, it's probably not going to manifest like we've said.
Yeah.
So start with an hour, build up from there, then go to an hour and a half, then go to 2 hours. And then maybe you can leave that job, or then maybe you can go part-time, and then you can get more business. And it's just playing a good balance of slowly innovating and growing and dedicating time to what matters.
That's all it is, man. It's dedicating the time. It's dedicating the time and just putting the work in.
And a lot of that time you're not going to get paid.
Nah.
So make sure you know that, because you will not get paid for everything you do, and you probably won't see that paycheck for quite some time, or that first payment for quite some time, or at least I should say substantial payment for quite some time. So don't beat yourself up after the first year if you didn't make $50,000.
Yeah, I mean, your return on investment when you start your business doesn't come until good, at least I would say 4 years into it.
Easy, yeah.
You know, at least. I mean, I don't know what the experts say or whatever they put it out to, but I think they usually say, like, if you can pay us that 7-year mark, then like you're solid. They say like you should be in business for
that's
as long as you want to.
That's what my mentor told me. He said, you know, like I didn't make any like large profit until 7 years. Like he had this big like 4,000 square foot facility that we went from like 2,000 square feet, and I didn't realize how big he was growing at the time. But he told me, he's like, look, this was 7 years in the making. Like I was doing this out of my garage 7 years ago. Like now I have a 4,000 square foot facility with top of line equipment. But like I went, you know, from working a job, like I just said, same thing I just said. But
it's
like,
not movie stuff. Put it that way. It's like people think you just see that on movie. Oh, look at Bill Gates, right? He started in the garage and it's just in a movie. It's real. It's real. It happens. It is. You have people that are dedicated. I mean, you actually look into the stories of these people that create their business, and they don't have to be Bill Gates, but you have really successful people that run companies. And what they tell you, I was working 16-hour days, 17-hour days. I was working 13-hour shift, or I was working, a regular normal schedule 8-hour day. Then I was going to school 3 hours, out of that time after, and then I was putting another 4 hours into my business. I mean, that's what I was doing. Yep. Like, if you want me to give me my full beginning of the company when I was a sole proprietor for the first 3 years, I was going to school full time. I was basically working full time, and then I was coming home and doing another 4 to 5 hours. I was getting about maybe 5 hours of sleep.
Right. Is
there times where you have to grind out and you maybe have to lack a little bit somewhere just to get ahead?
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
But it's what's the most important to you.
Yep.
Right. And I know there's probably other people that had to manage way more than what I had to. Maybe had kids on top of that.
Yeah.
Right. Who knows how to take care of somebody, take care of their parents or somebody that, just needed additional assistance for living on top of it, all of that. Like, I can imagine when some of these other really successful professionals, business owners have came out of on the other side from all the hard work and dedication that they put themselves into. So It's not easy. It's not an easy journey. It's as we stated before in this. It's not, sunshine and flowers. It's great that you can just take off whenever you want. You can take vacation. You can.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to come back to you though. Your business ain't going to be there though if you want to keep doing that.
Right.
And the results that you're looking for. This is a full-time gig of life.
Yes.
Like when you run a business, it's your passion, and it's your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't have days off. I'm working every day.
Yep.
I'm dedicating hours somewhere every day. They might not be full, 12-hour days.
Right.
But I tell you what, on Sunday, I put a couple hours in.
You're doing something.
I put a couple hours in, and then the rest of the week I did at least, 12-hour days or 10-hour days. It's always work being put into it. And that's how you get ahead, and that's how you get successful.
Right.
And eventually, as, your time comes where you're like, you know what, retirement's coming, it's close. Then you can have your feet, a little bit in the door, a little bit out.
Step out.
Let other people take over, however
Right.
you're looking to put in position. And honestly, it's great though. As much as we say there's work and there's a lot of dedication and it's not easy, it's amazing though because obviously it's yours and you created it, but you get to see what you have made and how much it contributed to so many other people.
Yep.
And it's what keeps you going. What makes you get up in the morning before that alarm.
Yep.
And what makes you want to stay up later.
True.
It gives you value. It gives you a purpose.
Yep.
So if you're somebody out there, and maybe we can leave off with this.
Yep.
There's somebody out there that is just lost, doesn't know what they want to do. Maybe likes their job, but wants to get further in that job and in that career path. And it doesn't have to be you don't have to be a business owner and want to start your own business, but you want to just get better at something. As you stated, make a list. It's always important. Make a list and make sure you're on a schedule. You have to be on a schedule.
Yeah.
No matter what it is. It don't matter. Make sure you wake up every day at the same time, if not a little bit before.
Mm-hmm.
Right there is already going to start you off.
Mm-hmm.
If you're waking up sporadically all different times of the day, you're going to feel so lost, depressed, out of it, because right there you're already telling yourself you don't even have a purpose. Right? You don't even have reasoning for why you're waking up.
Yep.
You need to give yourself reason, and you need to start making a schedule. You should. I'm not going to tell you need to do anything. You should.
Yeah.
You should make a
Keep
schedule.
yourself accountable.
And just make sure within that schedule you're accomplishing things. Like I said, if you're somebody that has no clue what they want to do, wake up. Make sure you wake up at a certain time. Make sure you get something to eat, right? Always fuel your body. Make sure you have some kind of fuel in your body to, get energy moved throughout the day.
Right.
Hopefully it's something healthy. Definitely get something to eat. And then from that, right? From that point, accomplish a small task. Brush your teeth.
Yeah.
Fold your clothes. Clean your room. And then let the day go. See what happens. When you start accomplishing tasks, you're going to want to keep doing it.
Yep.
It's like being on a video game. You win one game, what happens? You want to keep winning more.
Yep. Keep going.
It's the same thing.
Yep.
Life is a big game, and it depends how you want to play the game, right?
One task at a time.
So, you want to emphasize and highlight a little bit more before we close it out, but
no, I completely agree. There's one thing at a time. And again, back on the uncomfortable thing, like, hey, do I want to fold my clothes? Do I want to do my laundry? Do I want to make my bed? In a perfect world, I wouldn't want to do anything. I'd like to wake up and be money just straight coming out of my ceiling. I just wake up and there's money coming out and I can just do whatever I want. But like that's not life. And to be honest, if that was life, what would be the purpose of life?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have, there'd be no struggle. So what would be the point of even getting up in the morning?
you'll be done with it within a week at least,
Right.
at the most.
Yeah, you'd be like, I'm
After a week,
bored.
you're like, I'm bored.
What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
I have a car, whatever.
I got everything I want.
Right.
I'm sitting on a beach getting a mimosa right now.
Right.
I mean, how many can you have of them?
Right.
Essentially, right? Before you're like, man, I feel like shit and I don't feel like doing nothing.
No, yeah, but like,
right? It's just like,
Yeah.
you look at it, people always like, oh, I can't wait to retire. What are
Right.
you going to do for retirement?
Right.
You hear, I can't wait to play golf every day, and I'm going to,
You're gonna be
enjoy
bored
the beach.
after a month.
You're going to keep playing golf every day.
Right.
Like, honestly, like that's all you're going to do with your
Right.
life, and you're not going to get any reward out of it, big accomplishments of, you winning some kind of, tournament or whatever, and it's big payout for you, and you're doing more than just yourself. You're actually involved with all these organizations. unless you're not professional,
Right.
that's all you're gonna do is just pick up golf every day.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, but no, just like to
It's-
conclude on like the small task at a time, the scheduling thing. You don't have to do a schedule, but more so what I see is if you run a business or you're maybe a successful individual, I would say, is that you are sticking to a schedule and completing tasks on a daily basis. It can be, like John said, as simple as making your bed or making food. And if you're somebody who pushes things off every single day, probably 10 to 1 not going to be successful. You have to go towards that uncomfortable or not wanting to do something and complete it correctly and efficiently so you can get to the thing that you want to do next. There's always going to be stuff you don't want to do, but you have to get it done and complete it and keep your, what would you say earlier? Integrity.
Yeah, keep the integrity.
Just,
be truthful.
Like,
be honest.
It's worth it for you to do it. It's worth it for the bigger purpose of helping or providing your service or your product. You're doing it to reach the ultimate goal of running your own business and making an impact in this world.
Exactly. It's what ended it, Dave.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much,
Thank
man.
you
It's been phenomenal, dude.
I enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the shirt, too, by the way.
Yep,
I'll
nice
put this
shirt.
out there, let everybody see
Show
this.
some love with that shirt.
This is what we got right here. Can't wait to wear it. I want to make sure I'm doing some exercise and right movements when I wear this. But
Perfect
Dave,
squats.
thank you so much,
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
I really appreciate it. Guys, as Dave said, I'm going to make sure I'll put all your links and everything
Thank you.
so they can comment and reach out to you and all that.
Yep, thank you.
Go reach out to Dave, guys, if you need to really make sure you're doing it right and just live a healthier life. This is the guy to do it with. So
Thank you. And if you ever, anybody, no matter who you are, no matter what you're in, or if you have any questions, you enjoyed this conversation, just reach out, and I'm willing to help because everybody's got to start somewhere, and I'm willing to just throw you in the right direction, or maybe I know so-and-so in another field or whatever it may be. Just reach out, DM me, Movement Mobilizations. I told you my phone number. Give me a call, text me.
just
email me.
Give everybody your thing one more time.
One more time. Just Movement Mobilizations on Instagram, on Facebook, and then emails movementmobilizations@gmail.com, websites movementmobilizations.com. And yeah, that's really everything. Just feel free, reach out with some questions, or if you're interested in coming in and starting off with an assessment, I'd love to meet you and I'd love to help you out. So thanks so much for listening. I really appreciate it.
All right, thanks guys for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.